Hey everybody, how you all doing? Sir Stevie here, bringing you a brand new Blackout video. In the video today, everybody, I'm going to be doing basically a little bit of a tutorial video on my channel. I've done a video like this in the past, but I did it so long ago. It was right when Blackout first came out, so I feel like some of the tips are still relevant. Some of them aren't as much, so I thought I'd just change it with a few things that I've changed in my game that I now apply. And basically, these are just the 5 tips that I use for doing well in Endgames, basically. These tips really help me out. These are like the main things that I try and do in every single Endgame. And in all honesty, if you can get most of these right, you've got a pretty high chance of winning the Endgame because it puts you in a lot better situation, that sort of thing. So I just thought I'd share it all with you. If you are new to the channel, feel free to subscribe and like. We're on over 500 subscribers now, which is just insane, considering a few weeks ago we were on 100. I can't thank you all enough for how much the channel's grown. It really is appreciated. But yeah, without further ado, everybody, let's get straight into the tips themselves. So the tips themselves, guys, they aren't in any particular order. I've just put them in a random order, basically, so because I think all of them are just as important as the other, basically. So the first ones that I go with is perks. There's 2 perks I always want to have in an endgame. I can't always have them, unfortunately, but if I find them, I'll save them particularly for the endgame. And the main one, reinforced, because obviously in the endgame, what are people most likely to spam when they're panicking in an endgame, something like that? They're going to spam grenades, they're going to spam concussions, that sort of thing. So reinforced just reduces the effects of all of those things drastically. It really does make a difference for me, particularly with concussions. I feel like concussions are a much bigger problem in endgames because it's just basically a way of being able to kill your opponent easily. I prefer, in all honesty, reinforced over a trophy system because you don't need to worry about your reinforced perk getting destroyed. And consumer really makes a difference as well. That's the next big perk for me because of the fact that it can make the difference with, say you're in a 1v1 and you and the enemy are both fighting each other. You can medi up a lot quicker than them. So you might be able to get your health back to max again already, whereas they might only be on half health and then you can rush them and get the kill, that sort of thing. So those are just the 2 main perks that I'd go with in the end game. Next big tip from me, guys, that is basically high ground. It sounds quite easy, but it's something that a lot of people, I feel, overlook quite a bit. Because, say, for example, you might be happy in the spot that you're in, but really, if you get the opportunity and there's no one there, push for that high ground. If you're the person with the high ground, you can pretty much dictate when to fight if someone's like beneath you or something like that. If you're the person who's not in the high ground, you're at the mercy of the person who's got the high ground. The reason being is just because of the fact that, you know, the person in the high ground can choose when to look down and shoot. If you're the person who's not got the high ground and you're, say, at the bottom of the hill, then basically you're just hoping that they don't shoot you while you medi up or put your equipment down, something like that. You can't see your opponent. You don't know when they're going to start shooting you. But if you're on the high ground, you know when you can attack your opponent. You know, and it's just easier to shoot them in general as well. Shooting down on someone is a lot easier than shooting up at someone. And you can dictate when and when not you want to fight that person because you can just back away a few feet and you're safe. The person on the lower ground, they can't just back away a few feet because then they'll have to start running away and then the person with the high ground will just kill you even easier. Moving into the third tip, everybody, this is basically equipment. You've got your standard equipment like concussions, clusters and frag grenades. Those are 3 that I recommend a lot. But there's 3 that I use a lot as well that really help me out even more so in the end game. The first one being the trophy system. As I said, I do prefer reinforced because I feel reinforced is a bit more reliable. But if I don't have reinforced, I'll pick up a trophy system instead, which can do the job just as well. It's just my opinion that I prefer reinforced. Next one is a grapple gun. Again, quite simple, but it really helps out in the end games, whether it's getting to the high ground we mentioned a moment ago, getting to the roof of a building during the end game, something like that. It really does make a massive difference for me in the end game, having a grapple gun to get to places where someone else might not be able to get to, so it means you're a little bit safer, that sort of thing. And another one that I've been trying out only recently that has worked quite well for me is a barricade. It sounds quite stupid. They are seen as a bit of a newbie piece of equipment, in all honesty. But how many times have you been in like a 1v1 or an end game and the zone's closing and there's no cover whatsoever, or you can't get any cover whatsoever because maybe there's only one rock left in the zone and your opponent's behind that sort of thing. So the barricade, really, I just use it to make cover for myself in the zone, and it really does perform miracles sometimes, you know, just gives you that little extra bit of cover so you're not taking more damage from your opponent, that sort of thing. Coming into the fourth tip, everybody, this is one of my main ones. This is probably one of the ones, I know I said I wasn't doing them in any particular order, but this is one I definitely carry into every end game. And this is basically hug the zone. If you're in the end game, you don't want to be right in the middle of the zone. The reason being is it's really simple, really. If you're in the middle of the zone, you're a lot more likely to be getting third-partied because there might be two people on the edge of the zone who've seen you, and you're the closest person to them, so they're probably going to start shooting at you. So in my opinion, I like to stick to the edge of the zone and then move with the zone. I don't like to run too early. Say I have to move to the other side of the map in an end game. I don't like to move straight away as soon as I know where the zone's going to go. I like to hug the zone a little bit. One, it means that no one's going to be coming up from and attacking you from behind, especially in the end game with how much damage the zone now does. So you know that you've got, like, you only have to look at a 180-degree angle, basically. Whereas if you're in the center of the zone, basically, people can be coming from anywhere, can't they? Let's face it. But yeah, it just means that you're less likely to get third-partied as well when you've killed an opponent, that sort of thing. So it really does help hugging the zone a bit more because it just means that you're less likely to get attacked by multiple people at the same time. And then last but not least, guys, this is basically a tip that isn't necessarily just for the end game like the other tips I've given. This is sort of one, but I feel like people mess up a bit more on this when they're in an end game, that sort of thing. And it's happened to me a lot of the time. It's mainly happened to me when I'm in the 1 versus 1, not where I'm, say, there's 5 people left, something like that. But basically, how tempting is it when you're fighting this like a person and you feel like you're taking a little bit more damage than you're giving to your opponent? Do you just want to keep on shooting and think, oh, they might be close to dying, but really it's probably you that's closer to dying? It is tempting to keep on shooting, but sometimes it can work miracles just to back out of the fight for a quick second just to medi up. The reason being, especially as I mentioned earlier, if you have the consumer perk, you can medi up a lot quicker than your opponent, unless they've got it, of course, but it isn't as likely that they've got it as well. But it really does work a miracle sometimes, just backing out of the fight for a quick second just to medi up. Maybe you can then use it to try and throw some equipment at them, or you could try and use it as an opportunity to throw, like a smoke grenade down and try and get to some better ground, that sort of thing. Try and get the up on your opponent. Because it is tempting, you think, oh, I'm in the 1 versus 1, I'll just keep shooting and I might get them. And then you end up dying and it's been for nothing and you've come second place, which is just like painfully bad, to come in second place when you've got that close to winning. And so that's something that I do a bit. I don't always do it because sometimes I get a feeling that I feel like I've done more damage to my opponent and I'll push them. But sometimes I'll feel like I don't feel I've done that much damage to my opponent. I'll pull back a set, medi up, and then go again. But yeah, those are just the main tips that I'd recommend for you all. I hope they've been useful. If there's any tips that you guys use that I've missed off this list, feel free to put them down in the comments below. It'd be really appreciated. But yeah, that's it from me for today, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you are new to the channel, feel free to drop a subscribe and like. But yeah, that's it from me for today, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.